Good evening, everybody. My name's Hal Roth. I direct the Contemplative Studies program at Brown, and I want to welcome you to this evening of classical South Asian contemplative music on behalf of the Contemplative Studies program. We are the first undergraduate concentration or major in North America. We were established in 2014. And what we do is we study human contemplative experiences across cultures and across time, from humanistic, scientific, and most importantly for this evening, artistic points of view. We emphasize a combination of the kind of at a distance, third person critical approach that we find throughout higher education and many of our courses. But we combine that with person-to-person intersubjective second-person approaches and critical first-person approaches through which we engage in the contemplative practices directly through first-person experience. And we contextualize that experience through second and third-person perspectives. If you would like to learn more about our concentration, please visit our website, which is extremely informative. For those of you who are interested in concentrating, we have the concentration program laid out. For those of you who are interested in past programs, we have many digital recordings of our past lectures and workshops and concerts. We also have listings for future events. The next one being a week from tomorrow, which is a shamatha concentration meditation retreat with Dr. Sarah Shaw from Oxford University. It is my great pleasure tonight to introduce Maestro Srinivas Reddy. Srini was a very dear student back in the 90s and was in the first graduating class in the new concentration in South Asian studies that was created during that time. He traveled extensively in Asia, almost got lost in Nepal and Tibet, I believe, along the way. And over the years has become like a part of, not like, but part of our family, like a second son, a third son, actually. I hope my sons are not on here tonight and think that I forgot one of them. He has also finished a PhD, completed his PhD, and is now an accomplished scholar. He studied at UC Berkeley in South Asian literature. And 3 or 4, maybe 5 years ago, returned from India and has become part of our contemplative studies core faculty. So it is with great pleasure that I want to ask you to join me in welcoming Professor and Maestro Srinivas Reddy, who will introduce his accompanist tonight on the tabla, and discuss, give us a presentation about what music will be performed. Contemplative music is an extremely important dimension of first-person contemplative practice, and we are very fortunate tonight to have this opportunity. So please join me in welcoming Professor Reddy.
Wow, okay, can everyone hear me? Yes? Thank you so much, Professor Roth. As you said, and as everyone knows who knows us, I do feel like a part of the Roth family, and it's been a wonderful journey over the last 25 years, being friends, family friends, colleagues, teachers, and just a beautiful relationship And I've also, in that time, seen Professor Roth develop this program, this concentration of this new field of study, contemplative studies, into what it is today. It is the kind of flagship program for this kind of study in the world. And it's really because of his tireless efforts. So it's really an honor for us to be here, to be part of that. So thank you, Professor Roth. Thank you to Anne Heierman-Hart, who does everything behind the scenes and doesn't get enough credit because she's always doing stuff and never there. But I hope Anne is there somewhere, and you can just send her a lot of love and gratitude, because she really works hard, and we couldn't have done this without her. And also to my colleague Larson DiFiore, who's also a very dear friend, and so many of you all for being part of this. A lot of students are here from our music and meditation class, the community that we've been developing, not only just in Providence and in Rhode Island, but all around the world now. And with Zoom, there's people from everywhere. So it's really just a pleasure for us and an honor as musicians. You know, obviously this year has been difficult for all of us, but for musicians particularly, so much of our life is to be, you know, in public, on a stage with an audience, to feel that energy. So, you know, we're doing our best. We're all like going to get through this, and just knowing that so many of you are out there listening and sending your good energy really means a lot. So thank you very much. I'm really honored and privileged to play with my dear brother-in-law and friend and collaborator, Nitin Mitta. Usually Nitin's on tour somewhere, so even though he lives in Rhode Island, I rarely see him, because he's usually accompanying all the great maestros of Indian music or working on fusion projects with various you know, world-renowned musicians. So in a way, COVID has brought us closer together, because, you know, family gets to stay together, and it's just lucky that my brother-in-law happens to be an awesome tabla player, so it's great for me. Just without going too much into introductions about our life, or even about the music per se, because I think hopefully it'll speak for itself, I will say this, that the most important thing in our tradition, and in a lot of the contemplative traditions, and I say that because my own guru, as in Professor Roth, who's been my teacher for 25 years, is here. The guru is the number one thing. The guru, the teacher, is critical, because knowledge is not a thing. Knowledge is something that's embodied in a person and grows in a person, and that is transmitted the way that, you know, a candle is lit by another flame, and that is really what is at the heart of the meditation traditions that we study, but also the music tradition. The number one thing anyone asks when you meet an Indian musician is, who's your guru? Because that tells everything you need to know. It shows your lineage, it shows your repertoire, it shows your connection to an ancient tradition that has been passed down for, you know, millennia. So Nitin had the great honor and privilege of learning from Pandit Arvind Malgaonkar, one of the great maestros of the Farrukhabad Gharana. That's a particular school of playing. And his teacher learned from one of the greatest maestros of that Gharana, Ustad Amir Hussain Khan Sahab. And, you know, a lot of those special, beautiful compositions and subtle things that are transmitted through people were given to Nitin, which he imbibed over many years studying with his teacher in Bombay. I had the good fortune of learning with Pandit Partha Chatterjee, who is a senior disciple of the late Pandit Nikhil Banerjee, who, you know, arguably was, you know, one of the great, certainly, sitar players, if not the greatest of the 20th century, and definitely considered one of the last kind of nada yogis. I mean, truly someone who believed in the fundamental principle that music was a spiritual discipline. And that is really what our tradition is about. So I always, grapple with the idea of calling it contemplative music of South Asia because this music is contemplative by nature. It is contemplative by design. It is contemplative by conception, in the sense that all Indian arts, fundamentally at their core, are paths towards salvation. It's a moksha marga. It is a soteriological basis, foundation to practicing arts. And of course we have fun and we tour around and do all these things, but the real heart of it is that contemplative mindset. So thank you all for being here. We're going to get started, tune up and play. And hopefully, we can have some time for a Q&A at the very end. So the first raga that we're going to start with is Rag Puriya Kalyan. This is an evening raga. It mixes two kind of different ragas, Puriya and then Kalyan ang ragas. So Puriya and Kalyan. Puriya Kalyan is the name of the raga. We'll start with an Alap, which is an introduction by the sitar of the raga of the notes without tabla accompaniment. And then we'll play a slow composition, Vilambit, in Tintala, 16 beats, and then a Drut or fast composition also in Tintala. So thank you very much. Thank you, Professor Roth. Thank you, everyone. And actually,
you.
Thank you. So this is a, I mean, traditionally known as a South Indian Carnatic Raga called Kirwani, although it's very popularly played in North Indian Hindustani music, which is the tradition that we're both playing in, and it is a, you know, what they call harmonic minor, I guess, in Western music. So the basic scale is. And a lot of times when the rags get borrowed from the Carnatic system, there's not as much strict, you know, ascending, descending kind of pattern. So a little bit more open, and we'll play this in a little bit more what we call light classical type style, but still in Tintala in 16-beat cycle. And then. Thank you so much. Thank you, Nitin.
Srinivas Reddy.
Nitin Mitta. Oh, no, you can't see them. Sound was great. Okay, good. Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, no one has any questions? Everyone's blissed out? That's great. Really question about relationship between Carnatic and Hindustani music. Oh, well, I mean, Carnatic and Hindustani music, I mean, the beauty of India is that we have two distinct but very related classical music traditions. And both systems are fundamental in that they share this idea of raga and tala, but they're realized in different ways. So historically, in the ancient period, even until like, the mid-medieval period, I would say, there was kind of one main system that was shared amongst everybody. And it was only during the later medieval period that you really get kind of a bifurcation of the two traditions. So they're related but distinct. That's basically it. And then, of course, there's a lot of complexity to that too, but yes. Their origins are, they could both come from the same place, that's for sure. Yeah. Chris Masto, the Mastos. I have three siblings in our music class, and my three siblings, or my two siblings, also went to Brown. So there were three of us, and it's been a lovely pleasure. And Chris Masto said that's nice, and even you were in the video, so I've seen you, Chris, and I hope you get to come for Sam's whatever graduation that we're going to have this year. So. Question about the movable press. Tell us more. Okay. Well, okay. Well, the gross level answer is most rags don't have two varieties of, let's say, the second note, which we call re, and they don't have two varieties of the sixth note, usually, the sixth, which we call da. So what happens is there's only one fret for both like minor and major second or minor and major sixth. So depending on the rag, you have to move those frets. So like the first rag had a flat 2, a minor second, and a major 6. And then the second rag actually had a major second and a minor 6, so I had to move all of those. So that's one part of it, is that rags generally don't use the same varieties of those notes, or two varieties of those particular notes, although there's a lot of subtlety and complexity to that too. The other thing is And not to get into big discussion, but microtonality is, I mean, sometimes blown out of proportion, but in certain rags, certain notes are considered more flat or a little sharp or whatever it may be that you learn from your teachers. So in certain cases, you do have to move the fret a little bit to actually get the microtone of the note that you want. So I hope that was good. There's a lot of comments, so I'm trying to see which ones are the questions. Thank you very much. Is Kirwani a Carnatic rag? Yes, Kirwani is a Carnatic rag. I mentioned that. How do you make the gong sound? The gong sound, like when the meditation was a little bell that my teacher, my Buddhist teacher gave me. How does the music influence your spirituality? I mean, for me, the music is the spirituality. There's nothing else. I mean, like, for example, like I was saying earlier, sadhana, exactly, that was the word. So you want to say anything about that?
Just that when we practice, the term for practice in Indian classical music is called sadhana, so it's a meditation basically. So when we sit up with the instruments and we connect to that deeper energy and being in the moment and with our inner self and what our gurus taught, to me that itself is the sadhana and meditation, apart from the other.
Yeah, no, I agree. That's exactly how I feel. But how does the music influence your spirituality? Well, you know, it helps. Like I was saying, I do this whole class right now. I have all these students, wonderful students in this class called Music and Meditation. And we look at all different kinds of music. But, I mean, one thing, I mean, music, I mean, I always say, but it's just the best thing in the world, you know? It transcends everything. It transcends language and genre and, like, it can be any kind of music. If it resonates with you, then it's touching you deeply. I mean, and it can penetrate to that deep. It's, you know, music has like soul power. That's really what it is. So, how did you choose these specific two rags for the performance? That's always a big question. I don't know. I was just playing Puriya Kalyan. I was inspired by that rag the other day, and so I was playing, and I thought it would be good. And then usually I try to like pick a second rag that contrasts with it. So Kirwani seemed like a good choice. Oh yeah, that's the other, yes, good point. Ragas are time specific. So, you know, if you know it's an evening concert like today, like 7 o'clock, that's like the perfect time for Kalyan rags. So Puriya, this is the right time to play this rag. So that makes a big difference, yes. So if you know you have an evening concert, you can't be playing morning rags. Is there a statue of Shiva playing a sitar to your right? No, that's a statue of Saraswati, who's the goddess of learning and music, and she holds a veena, which is the kind of prototype stringed instrument of India. So let's see. Also out of curiosity, when looking at the notes and frets, do you think of them in terms of Western notes, A, B, C, D, or Saregama? Oh yeah, totally in terms of Saregama Padanisa. There's no A, B, C, D at all. Well, there's definitely no ABCD because there's no ABCD in Indian music, in the sense that Indian music is all relative pitch music. So if at all, there could be a do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti in your mind, but even then, no. I mean, we all, once you're into Indian music, you just think Saregama. I mean, when I play guitar, you know, and stuff, then maybe I do. But honestly, even on guitar, I kind of think like in Saregamas also. Nitin, is most of your performance improvised, or is there a score to go with the sitar? Oh. That's for you.
Okay. So, yeah, most of it is improvised. Like today we didn't plan, we just met like 5 minutes before the sound check.
Yeah.
So I had no clue what he was performing or what tal. So just picked it up. And but so we do have a skeleton structure about, which we call as a composition. And within that framework we improvise. So each concert is different and being in the moment, but we do have some pointers to work on and then improvise from there. But in general, with any musician we perform, it's all being in the space and connecting to that moment.
Yeah, so that relates to another question. How much of the 2 ragas were improvised? Well, the Alap portion, the beginning portion, is 100% improvised. And then the gut portions or the compositional parts, they would call them compositions. Those are highly improvised too. I mean, there's definitely like certain fixed material, but overall, it's highly improvised. So I mean, I don't know about percentage, but a lot. Like we don't know what's going to happen. You know, it's scary. Playing Indian music is very scary, dangerous. You know, because yeah,
So today we played in a 16-beat rhythmic cycle called as Tintala. So then we have the outline within that 16. It's like a blank canvas, and whatever musical notes he paints or whatever I play on the tabla is all within that frame.
yeah. So there's that frame, but within that's. Oh, nice comment from Arjun Verma. Arjun is a great sitar player, student of Alap Sahab. So thank you, Arjun.
Oh, is there?
Yeah.
Hi.
So nice to hear you guys play. How do you guys keep time when the other improvises on the spot? Yeah, that's good. Well, you know, when one's improvising, the other person's kind of holding it down. Like if you like in the end, the last piece there, you heard me. I was just playing this one thing like bum 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 bum. You know that kind of thing. So that was a little bit fixed and holding and steady while Nitin was improvising. And then, you know, you want to say something? No. Then Nitin there's things that happen in tabla that are more fixed in nature. Yeah. But there's 16 other. Let's just quick. Big question. Where do you think Indian music, classical music, will go in the 21st century after the monumental president in the 20th century? Big question. I don't know. I do believe this though. I do believe that people like you, will continue to have a dedication to playing with a certain purity of thought and expression and tradition, and I think that will never die. Not to say that the music doesn't change, like we all do different kinds of, fusion or whatever type projects, or do different things in Rag, but there's a certain kind of, I don't want to say orthodoxy, but a certain type of commitment to tradition, let me put it that way, that I believe certain people will always keep going, and I believe it's always been a rarefied kind of music, and maybe it will remain like that, but I think it'll be okay. Let's see. How did the cymbal sound come out of you while you're? How did the cymbal sound of the sitar? There is a hard raw when I hit kind of the fretboard. So that's probably what maybe you were hearing. Can you just suggest some next steps to hear and appreciate this music? A playlist, for example. Well, actually, I'm running a course right now called Appreciating Hindustani Raga Music. So next time you can send me an email. I'll let you know about it. The best thing though is just to listen. Listening is the key thing. So listen to people like Nikhil Banerjee, listen to people like Alap Sahab, listen to people like Vilayat Khan. Those are some great instrumentalists. And then vocal music is really the dominant form. So listen to people like, Bhare Ghulam Ali Khan Sahab, Kishore Monkar. There's so many great artists, but really Rashid Khan is performing today. Listening is the key thing, and just listening just because you enjoy it and letting it soak into you is a big part of it.
So they say listening is half learning.
That's it.
Sunna hi adha seekhna hota hai. It's in Hindi.
Exactly.
So in Indian classical music, especially, listening is given great importance. And so you soak in that energy and learning, and then it comes into playing.
What is music's role in the religious practice in India? Well, there's different kinds of music for different types of religious practices, but as an overall thing, I mean, music is essential to all Indian religious traditions, I would say. I can't think of a tradition that doesn't have like some kind of music involved, whether it's singing bhajans or kirtans or prayers that are chanted or Sufi music, like at the dargahs being sung like qawwali. Or the stuff that we do is, it's a little bit more, I would say, it's not religious in the sense like, it's not at a temple or something like that. Although in the olden days there was like Drupad was performed in temples. but you know, it's more personal, I guess I would say, you know, in that sense.
So the approach is spiritual.
Yeah. So okay. How much were the two raga? We answered that one. Okay. Music is medicine. Yes, that's correct. What was your tonic note for these ragas, and how do you choose the tonic for any given performance? The tonic here, basically, I tune my sitar to D. So, like I was saying, in Indian music, it doesn't matter. Like whatever your tonic is, it's your tonic, and that's, you know, instruments have a certain range. So this instrument is, you know, range is like C sharp, D. I usually tune to D. And once you kind of fix that, that's it. And then and then the drum is also tuned to that. So that's kind of a fixed thing. And then that never changes. Like the notes can change that we play, but the tonic doesn't change. So the tonic is fixed. Let's see. I think that looks like it might be it. All right. Well, oh, and it's already 8:30. Okay, great. So thank you, everybody. Hopefully the recording will have worked, and we can put this online for you. And just, again, a huge thank you to Professor Roth and Anne and Larson and Nitin.
Thank you.
And to all of you for giving your time, attention, and love. We really appreciate it, and it's our honor to play for you. Thank you very much. Good night.